Welcome to another episode of Out from the Horrorbox. I'm your missing host, Dom, and in this episode we take a look at the 2025 mystery horror film written, co-produced, and directed by Zach Cregger, Weapons. One night, 17 children, all but one from Justine Gandy's classroom, simultaneously wake up and run off into the night. Justine and the rest of the community are left questioning who or what is behind the children's disappearance. Going into Zach Cregger's first horror film, Barbarian, we had no idea what to expect, and we had no idea, since this film was announced, what it could possibly be about. Time to unravel the mystery of Weapons. Following the financial and critical triumph of Barbarian, writer-director Zach Cregger turned his attention to crafting an ambitious new spec script titled Weapons. Described as a sprawling horror epic with a more intimate, character-driven core, the project draws inspiration from Paul Thomas Anderson's mosaic storytelling in Magnolia and Jennifer Egan's non-linear narrative in A Visit from the Goon Squad. The script took a deeper personal significance for Cregger following the tragic passing of his close friend and frequent collaborator, Trevor Moore, whose memory influenced the emotional weight of the story. When the screenplay hit the market on January 22nd, 2023, it ignited an intense bidding war among major studios including Netflix, New Line Cinema, TriStar Pictures, and Universal Pictures, all vying for the hotly anticipated project. Cregger later revealed that the script was distributed to studios via the secure software app Embershot at 8 a.m. on January 23rd, and by 9:30 a.m., Warner Brothers Pictures CEO Michael DeLuca had already reached out to finalize the deal. New Line Cinema emerged victorious, securing the rights within 24 hours by offering a staggering $38 million package covering production costs, salaries, and back-end deals. The agreement granted Cregger $10 million for his role as writer, director, and producer, along with final cut privileges, which is amazing, contingent on test screening feedback, which might be a little bit of a caveat, and a guaranteed theatrical release. Universal, which had partnered with Jordan Peele's Monkey Paw Productions during the bidding, ultimately lost the auction after submitting an offer of $7 million lower than Warner Brothers. The fallout from the deal reportedly led to Peele parting ways with his longtime managers, Joel Zadek and Peter I'm probably going to butcher that, Principato, the latter of whom also represented Cregger. Casting moved swiftly between May and July 2023, with Pedro Pascal, Brian Tyree Henry, Austin Abrams, Tom Burke, and June Diane Raphael signing on. However, due to production delays in the 2023 Hollywood strikes, Pascal, Rensiv, Henry, and Burke were forced to exit the project. Pascal's departure was particularly notable as it stemmed from a scheduling conflict with his commitment to Marvel's Fantastic Four First Steps. The film underwent significant recasting in early 2024, with Josh Brolin stepping in to replace Pascal in February. By April, Julia Gardner had joined as I'm sorry that I might be mispronouncing this actress's last name, Rainsiv's replacement, while Alden Ehrenreich took over Burke's role. The following month, Benedict Wong, replacing Henry, Amy Madigan, and Carrie Christopher rounded out the ensemble. Principal photography commenced in Atlanta in May 2024, with the production utilizing Georgia's Tucker Middle School as the stand-in for Maybrook Elementary. Reports indicated that on peak filming days, over 170 child actors were on set, requiring dedicated child labor coordinators to supervise and engage the young performers between the takes. Key scenes, including a pivotal gas station sequence, were shot over 3 days at a BP station in Covington, Georgia. Filming officially wrapped in July 2024, marking the next step in Cregger's ascent as a visionary filmmaker in the horror genre. And now let's see what the big deal is with weapons.
This is a true story that happened in my town. So this one Wednesday is like a normal day for the whole school. But today was different. Every other class had all their kids. But Mrs. Gandy's room was totally empty. And you know why? Because the night before, at 2:17 in the morning, every kid woke up, got out of bed, walked downstairs, and into the dark. And they never came back.
I don't understand at all. Why just her classroom? Why only hers?
Where are our children?
We have a lot of emotional parents here. I think it's best if you keep some distance from this place.
Matthew, where are you? Where did you go?
This is where the story really starts.
At 2:17 a.m. in Maybrick, Pennsylvania, 17 third graders from Justine Gandy's class abruptly flee their homes and vanish, except for one boy, Alex Lilly. Police launch an investigation questioning Alex and Justine, but uncover no clues. They are played by Carrie Christopher and Julia Gardner, respectively. A month later, under public suspicion, Principal Marcus Miller, played by Benedict Wong, suspends Justine. Devastated, she drowns her sorrows in alcohol and reconnects with her ex, Officer Paul Morgan, played by Alden Ehrenreich. Meanwhile, Archer Graff, played by Josh Brolin, father of missing boy Matthew, played by Luke Speakman, grows impatient with the stalled police efforts and starts his own search. Worried about Alex, Justine follows him home and finds the windows covered in newspaper, his parents eerily vacant. She alerts Marcus and demands a wellness check. Both Justine and Archer begin dreaming of the vanished children and a shadowy woman. Archer traces the kids' path to a general direction but hits a dead end. When Justine returns to Alex's house and dozes in her car, a woman emerges, snipping a lock of her hair. James, a local addict and thief, played by Austin Abrams, breaks into Alex's home, assuming it's abandoned. Inside, he discovers Alex's zombified parents and the missing children catatonic in the basement. Spotting a reward poster, he heads to the police station, but Paul, who previously threatened him, gives chase. James flees into the woods, glimpsing the nightmare woman before Paul catches him. After driving to Alex's house to investigate, Paul leaves James cuffed in the car, only to drag him inside hours later. At school, Marcus meets Gladys, Alex's supposed aunt, played by Amy Madigan, who claims she's caring for the family. Skeptical, Marcus insists on seeing Alex's parents. Later, Gladys arrives at Marcus and Terry's home, pretending distressed before performing a ritual that brainwashes Marcus into butchering Terry, who is played by Clayton Ferris. She then commands him to kill Justine. Marcus ambushes her at a gas station, mid-argument with Archer, but as he pursues her, a car strikes him dead. Reunited at the hospital, Justine and Archer piece together that the children were drawn to Alex's house. Investigating, they learn Gladys, a dying witch, used a potted tree to steal youth. She enslaved Alex's parents, forcing him to collect classmates' belongings to sustain her, promising to leave once healed. Possessed Paul and James attack Justine and Archer until Justine shoots them. Archer finds Matthew but falls under Gladys's control, turning on Justine. Alex, evading his parents, replicates Gladys's ritual with her hair, breaking her hold. The freed children hunt her down, tearing her apart, lifting the curse. Archer carries Matthew home. In the aftermath, Alex moves in with another aunt. His parents remain institutionalized. The children, still hollow-eyed, return to their families. Years later, only a few have spoken again. Now let's move on to some trivia about the film Weapons and learn something about the behind the scenes, the production, and the actors. Initially set for release on January 16, 2026, it was rescheduled to August 8, 2025 after test screenings. And honestly, I am so glad they moved it up from January. January is normally this kind of like dead spot. January, February are notorious for, being these kind of like place where you dump movies where, they're not going to do too good. People are still watching stuff from December that was holdover from there. That's usually like Oscar-y stuff, like award season stuff, like things that are getting nominated for things. So there's not a lot happening January, February. And it kind of would have... I'm not saying it wouldn't have done well, because I feel like it honestly probably would have done great without anything else around it. But the fact that they had such great like faith in it to be like, well, Superman just came out, Fantastic Four just came out, Freakier Friday is coming out, and we're gonna put it up against that. And the fact that it did so well too, it just goes to show that like horror's on a roll, guys. Horror has been on a roll since, I would say, maybe like 2017, around there. Like, I would say when, like, It came out. Like, the first It really showed us, like, hey, guys, there's something's going on here. And when, like, Hereditary started coming out, and we started getting things, we started getting more, like, things like Ready or Not, and we started getting things like, this more elevated kind of like horror, The Witch, which was before that, but leading into, like The Lighthouse, and started getting things like, and then like things like It Follows. I know that was before, but like this was like leading into this like wave of like over the past couple of years, we've gotten like such great like horror movies. We've gotten Longlegs, we got The Monkey this year, Sinners. We got The Substance, which was nominated for Best Picture. Nosferatu. We got, we're getting more. We're getting Frankenstein from Guillermo del Toro. We're getting, all these just things that are just like, I'm just so glad that finally like horrors get turned around, and it's not just. I mean, there's a way to do it where like, look at Scream. Like, Scream came back. Or something like In a Violent Nature, where you can showcase like this other style of like showing like a slasher, and like from their point of view, and like you give us that movie, which is a great film also, and we're just getting like these like awesome like looks at horror that are also like, I think the fact also that they're also taking on like other genres too, like I think that's helping people ease into like this kind of horror mindset. And I'm so glad, finally people are like opening up to horror as a serious genre and not just like this kind of schlocky thing that we're like, I'm glad that we're also getting things that are just pumping out to be like, to keep along that line of, schlock, B movie, things that are like that, you could just watch. You don't have to like get into like let's get into like the mythology of all of it. Let's like, oh no, you just put it on and it's just like a cool slasher. But like even those are like really good. Like what was the one? Totally Killer was the one with Kiernan Shipka where she goes back in time. There's just like it's been so good these past few years, and we're like in this awesome golden age of like horror, and it's good. It's great again, and maybe it's because we're trying to get away from the horrors of real life. I mean, but who knows, right? Like it could be anything that's causing this like influx of horror. But I'm glad that like test screening it didn't like delay anything. It actually made it like, hey, we gotta get this out as soon as we can. Justin Long and Sarah Paxton also starred together in Barbarian. In Weapons, Justin and Sarah played a married couple, parents to one of the 17 missing children. In Barbarian, Justin plays AJ, who was accused of sexually assaulting Sarah's character. And honestly, I don't know if it's supposed to be the same characters. If this is supposed to be like a prequel type of thing where it's set in the same universe, or it's supposed to be kind of like if anybody knows, like with Stephen King, Desperation Regulators thing, where it's like, kind of like an alternate universe type of thing with these characters. They're the same characters, but just in another universe, another existence, another when. I don't know, but if he is building something with it, and like it's something with Justin Long and Sarah Paxton, that would be amazing. I know that Sarah Paxton, her and Zach Cregger are married. They've been married for a while, and I love that they're bringing in Justin Long, because if you haven't seen Tusk, you need to see Tusk with Justin Long. That's a very messed up movie, and he does a great job. And he did a great job in Barbarian. He was hilarious, and in his little part was pretty good. I'd love to see him work with him again. I don't know, I'm like trying to find like different like videos on YouTube. I've been hunting down different theories and stuff about like what it is like that he could be doing with this universe, and like if there's any hints here and there for anything. So I'm gonna keep an eye out, and like hopefully maybe we'll get something, because I know he's working. I think he's working on another movie. Or I don't know. Hopefully he already is. Hopefully they're already like, here's more money, make something else. Which, it's so crazy that one of the guys from The Whitest Kids You Know, who made Miss March. It's so funny because it's like, you look at like the movies he's made, it's Miss March, 2009, and then it's Barbarian and Weapons. But if you've ever seen Miss March, it's funny. It's not like one of the best. It's not a great comedy. It's pretty funny. It's all The Whitest Kids You Know, guys. It's got Craig Robinson. It's pretty good. I think Barbarian and Weapons are better movies. I think they're funnier than that, but I think that's what makes him so good at crafting like these horrors. I think it's the same thing with Jordan Peele. He's so good at, I think, horror and comedy, they walk these kind of same lines. So you're able to, if you can navigate one, you can navigate the other. The original ending would have just been the vacant eyes of Archer's son Matthew, staring off with no additional context from the narrator who opened the film. According to writer and director Zach Cregger, originally that voiceover that comes in at the end wasn't even there. I was not really into that idea. I wanted to just end on Matthew's look. But people were not stoked on that. The reaction from the audience at the first test screening ultimately determined the film's fate. There was no voiceover, and we just ended on the kid's face. The lights went out, and written and directed by Zach Cregger came up. And a woman in the audience in the theater goes, "What the fuck? that ending was nearly the film's undoing. Cregger says people liked the movie, but they were like, that cannot be the ending. Adding the voiceover allowed the director to maintain some ambiguity while giving people a little bit more closure. Hopefully, you get enough where you don't feel ripped off. And I think that was a good thing. This is one of those things where, you know, like having input from audiences, I think did well, because there's times where we've seen that, like, some producers are just like they're aiming for an audience. They get those people to come in, and then when they want to hear what they say specifically, and it just butchers a movie. Having an audience and like see it and give notes like that, because I understand as a writer, director, producer, whatever. I understand from the creative side too, like why you would want it to be like that. But I think it does need that kind of wrap up to give people that feeling of that it's wrapping up, even though it's still ambiguous. To them it feels like, oh, I'm getting told like more of the story, and I'm told the ending. Not necessarily maybe exactly how they'd want it, but you know, it helps them with the closure, right? It helps audiences with closure. Which I think, you know, like, it's one of those things with writing and writing novels and writing stories, writing scripts. Like, it works well on paper, like having it say, you know, like, and the last shot is on Matthew's face as he stares off blankly. You know, it works perfectly on paper. But when you're showing it to people and you're shooting it and that's it, I think that's when it becomes like, that's it? That's all you're going to give me? I want more than that. And he listened. Zach Cregger revealed that he told Amy Madigan she could pick between two different options for Gladys's backstory. He said, I was like, you can pick one of these two. Option 1, Gladys is just a normal person using dark magic to cure her disease. She had to adopt this methodology that she uses out of a place of emergency to keep herself alive. I won't say any more than that. Option 2, Gladys was a non-human creature who was using her bizarre makeup and wig in a poor attempt to mimic humans. And that's an interesting way to think about it. I like that a lot. I think she went with, obviously, option 1. I'm thinking that's where she went, that she's not some non-human creature. Which, honestly, then see, like, I really want to know where if he is building out some kind of mythology with this and Barbarian and trying to build some kind of, I don't know, shared space between them, then why give an option for this, right? If it's between like, oh, she's just like a normal person who's using dark magic to cure her disease, or she's a non-human creature who's using bizarre makeup and the wig in a poor attempt to mimic humans. I don't know, right? Like, wouldn't you have had it in your mind already? Like, which one it should be or it is? I don't know. See, I feel like something's going on here with this. I feel like there's like little breadcrumbs here and there where, or maybe the joke's on us and we're over analyzing it. And the thing is, he's going to pull the rug out and it's going to be nothing. And it's just going to be like, oh yeah, no, I just wanted to throw this in as like something kind of funny, or this because it was like, oh yeah, it was kind of a cool little like callback. Honestly, that'd be pretty funny. Gladys's magic is at least partly inspired by blood magic, aka dark magic, which is said to corrupt the bodies of those who use it. This could explain why she's sick. And I mean, I think it has something to... I think we're supposed to notice the parallels between, in the background, in the early part of the film, where Justine Gandy, Julia Gardner, is talking about parasites, and then we see the cordyceps taking over the ant when Marcus and his husband, they're watching the Animal Planet, whatever they're watching, where they're watching the stuff about the ants. their body's getting taken over. We're supposed to understand that it's something with parasites, right? Like, she's a parasite. She goes around, she embeds herself in this family and gets them, takes over control and uses them to get the nutrients she needs, right? And I think the blood magic, like this kind of dark magic stuff, is going to come up. I feel like it has something to do with Barbarian. I feel like there's something there with Barbarian, even though we didn't really get too much of it. We know that, like, obviously it's just this horrible, awful, disgusting person who builds this web of tunnels under this house and essentially has this monster of a person, woman or girl, that he, I guess, like, from years of, like, keeping women there and you know, doing disgusting things with them and having their children and breeding with them, and obviously it led to this, right? But I just feel like there's something, and maybe, and like I said before, maybe we're looking too much into it. Maybe we're not looking enough into it. Maybe we're looking in the wrong direction. Maybe we're looking in the right direction. I don't know. I feel like we're going to get pieces here and there. Maybe whatever he works on next might connect it a little bit. Maybe he doesn't even connect it at all. And then, bam, like something else comes out that he does. And then finally, I don't know. Or maybe he just leaves it kind of ambiguous so where we have no idea. I don't know. But I do like this, like the idea of like that like Barbarian wasn't necessarily anything like magic, right? There was nothing like supernatural really about it. It's just that this is like a monster because this is what she's been bred to be. Gladys is a monster because, yeah, she uses this magic, this dark blood magic, to essentially keep herself alive. And we understand that it's probably been centuries that she's been alive because the terminology she uses. So, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. Kill counter. Now we've arrived at the kill counter. This is the part of the podcast where we go through the kills and deaths in the film Weapons. In Weapons, there aren't that many kills, with a total of 5, but I don't think it needs more than that. But let's get into each one. So, the film really doesn't have any kills until, like, I would say more than, like, halfway through, maybe a little bit more than halfway through, with when Gladys comes over to Marcus, the principal, his house, and he's sitting down to relax with his husband. And they got seven hot dogs, and they're getting ready to watch some ants get taken over by cordyceps. You know, just the thing that, you would do on your day off. But, she comes over acting exhausted, asking for a cup of water, then asks for a bowl of water, and then that's when she pulls out her stick and wraps some stuff around it. I think it's the ribbons that were in his office, and then uses that to cause Marcus to be taken over, and she uses him to kill his husband Terry, and he just bashes his head into Terry's head. Marcus bashes his head into Terry's head over and over and over until it's just like a soup, essentially. And then she uses Marcus to go after Justine, and Justine's out with at the gas station talking to Archer. Archer confronts her, and they start talking. They start arguing. Like she's like, I want to know what happened to these kids just as much as you do. And then that's when she sees Marcus just coming running towards her with his arms out like the kids. and he's running towards her. He knocks Archer over, starts attacking her. She gets away, and then runs inside the gas station. And Archer is able to kind of take him down for a bit, but then he gets the better of him, and Justine keeps running. And then as she's running out, and then Marcus is chasing after her. That's when he runs into the street and bam, gets hit by a car and obviously dies. And then from there, we really don't get a death death or kill till the very end, when once Archer and Justine put their information kind of together, and they learn that all these kids they were going towards Alex's house. They decide to go investigate. They go, and when they get inside. That's when Paul and James, they start attacking them, and then as they're attacking, Justine's able to get Paul's gun and shoot him, killing him. And then James is attacking Archer, and she's able to shoot Archer in the head too, and get them out of control of, obviously because they're dead, out of control of Gladys's spell. But then Gladys is able to put Archer under her spell too, and he's like choking her, and as he's choking her out, and Gladys is distracted downstairs. Alex goes upstairs to her bedroom, and he locks himself in her room as his parents start attacking, trying to knock down the door. And he's able to, because he learned how to do the spell with the twigs. He takes some of her hair, he wraps it around, does the blood stuff, and then snaps it, and it causes, and she can tell this happens. Like, she can feel it. She's like, oh no. And she runs out. And the kids from the basement not really snap out of it. They just turn their attention towards Gladys. They run out after her. And they chase her through several houses, through different lawns, through different backyards. And finally, they're able to subdue her. And they rip her apart. Limb from limb. Head to mouth to ear to toe to, just fully apart. Just her whole body is just ripped apart. And bam, the witch is dead. And honestly, I don't think horror films have to have gore. Don't have to have like deaths in them to make them good. It doesn't even have to have a lot of blood or anything. But I think this had the perfect amount to just, like, I love that at the end, like, it's so over the top that they rip her apart and stuff, but it works so well for the story. And I think having enough of like, seeing this, what her magic can do, it really puts in your mind, like, your mind can make up like more that, like, what it, I think beyond that, like beyond like, all these years of what, like, she's been through and been doing to people. Yeah, but let's get into my final thoughts. So I saw Barbarian without really seeing too many trailers, without knowing too much about what it was going to be about. And so I went and saw it, and I loved it. I saw it twice in theaters. It's an amazing movie. It's, as a first-time director for horror, and like trying to write horror, something different from what you've already written. Zach Cregger, I think, does a great job. And we knew, like, obviously it was a success and people liked it. Like, most people liked Barbarian. I think there were some people out there, the small minority, that just, I don't know, just can't have fun, can't like good things. And so we, it did pretty good enough where obviously he was going to give us something else. And so there'd been talks over the years since then that we were getting something. And I think he was going to direct, I think it was Abigail, or he was going to write it or something. And then he ended up passing that off because he was still working on this. And I think that was a good thing. I think he might have produced Abigail. I'm not sure. I got to look back at that, but I may be wrong. But I'm so glad he decided to forego that, because I think, going into weapons, obviously we didn't really know too much. We only knew that, 17 children disappeared at 2:17 in the morning. Ooh. And we got these like kind of cryptic things. It was kind of like Longlegs. I think Longlegs built up their kind of crypticness a little bit better. Not better. I think it's in a different way. This one it was more ambiguous, and like they didn't really give us enough information. I think Longlegs was giving us like all these like cool like stills and these like cool little snippets and stuff, enough to be like, I gotta see that. And this one too, it was like teasing enough, because then once I saw Sinners, and I think they gave us a better teaser for this. I think we finally got a teaser, and we understood that these kids just disappeared one night, and we had no idea. That's pretty much all we got for like the longest time. That's all anyone ever said or knew what it was going to be about. I did not get spoiled with anything about this. I didn't even know Josh Brolin was in this movie until like a day or two before I saw the film. Went in, and God, Zach, he really knows how. I think it's that thing, like I said, with like Jordan Peele. Like, I think comedy sits so close to horror sometimes that if you're able to do one, you can do the other. Like, I think it's about timing. It's about what you have to know, like, to get it to be like more surprising, to be more mysterious. And I think he's really he does really well at crafting like that mystery of like, what is it going to be? What is this unknown? What is this going to do? What is it going to be? Who is it? Where did it go? Why is it here? Why them? Why those? And I think, God, Josh Brolin does an amazing job. Julie Gardner does a great job. I loved her since, if you haven't seen the movie Electric Children, that was the first movie I saw her in. It was before she did like Ozark, before she's been in like all these other things. I think that might have been like her first film, but I'm not 100% sure about that. But it's a great film. Check it out if you haven't seen it. I think, Alden Ehrenreich, great. He's good in pretty much everything. I did not even recognize him in Ironheart when I was watching Ironheart. And then, like, it was showing, like, all the people in the MCU that come out in this movie. And it showed him, and I was like, oh, yeah, he is in that. There's way too many MCU-adjacent people that were going to be in this also. So it's a little crazy. But Benedict Wong, like always, knocks it out of the park. He's great in everything. I think Amy Madigan, for not really being in too much since Field of Dreams, I think she does a great job at playing like Aunt Gladys. She, at first I thought she was a clown when she was walking in. Like, her shoes kind of made like a squeaking noise, so I thought it was like, what the fuck is this? Some clown, some lady who's just like a clown? And then it's like, oh no, she's just like, that's how she looks. And I just love the setup and when I saw it again, you can see her there in the beginning when they're talking to Alex and his dad, because it's just like, I love that idea of like, of the different perspectives of like showing, we see Justine's perspective, then we see Archer's, and we see, Paul, and then we see James, and then we see Marcus, and then finally we get down to like Alex and Gladys and all of them. And it's just like, I love this idea of like, there's like these colliding stories that are being told simultaneously, and you're seeing the action from different points of view. It's kind of like Crash, but if Crash was good and not stupid. And I mean Crash, the one from like the one that beat Brokeback Mountain and didn't deserve to win Best Picture. That Crash. God, just the story, and like I love like the dream sequence is amazing too, and I love the idea of like that they're all dreaming of her too. They're also like seeing her in places, and then God, there's just like some cinematography in this that was also like, God damn, that was good. Like there's a scene where Justine's in bed, and she hears a noise when she wakes up in the middle of the night, and she like moves over to the right, and the camera moves to the right. And it was funny because in the theater, when I was seeing it for the first time, I moved to kind of see what was out there. I don't know if everybody did that, but I feel like that's what the camera kind of made you want to like. It made it feel like you were moving too with it to see what was out there. God, this movie, God, I was not expecting it to be like. I was expecting it to be good. Really good. This was like fucking really good. This was so good. Honestly, like it makes me want like Sinners. Sinners is probably the best horror film of the year. This is a hell of a number 2. I still think Sinners is just inches it out, ekes it out a little bit more. I think that is like. There's so many layers to Sinners. Like, that's so many layers of this and that and, like, things here and there going on that, like, you're not even thinking about, that you're watching this visual masterpiece. And I think Weapons is a very close second. I mean, there's still September, October, November, December, like 4 more months of the year. But still... I mean, I can't wait to see what we get the rest of the year. I don't think we're getting... Are we getting Frankenstein from Guillermo del Toro this year? Or that might be next year. I don't know. That might be the only thing I could think of that could unseat this at number 2. For me, at least. Because I do know we're getting another VHS Halloween. But I know that probably won't be anything to knock this off. God, this movie... From start to finish, I love the narration. I love the idea of like this. That's not the real. That's not even the story. The story starts here, after, them still dealing with this disappearance, the kids leaving, and someone did bring up like, oh, the police are kind of incompetent because why wouldn't they trace like what Archer does, like trace where the kids are going? And it's like maybe. They thought to do that, but you have 17 different kids from all around the town running, and maybe I feel like the way that they ran off didn't really point to like in a straight line. I think Archer and I think Archer got lucky by, drawing that straight line and then the other straight line too. I think maybe the other kids, maybe from the other parts of town, because the town's a lot more bigger than I think people think it is. They're not all just like right next to each other and they all ran towards this one, like the one house. It's like they probably did, but they also probably came from like the other side of town. They also probably came from that part of town where it's like, okay, to get here you have to go and then you got to make a left and then like maybe they didn't run in a straight line, or they ran into like a part where like because they're in a trance they ran over part of like where it's like, oh, that's not feasible that they would run through there, but they probably did. But you know what I mean, like the police don't think like, oh, they're not going to climb this gate to get over here because they're running in a straight line. They have to go this way. Maybe I don't know. I feel like there is ways for like you to not necessarily be like oh, yeah, duh. It's going to be just a straight line here from here to here. I don't know. I feel like people like to think that they're finding these, like, plot holes and finding these things, and it's like, you know, there's just, like, there's also easy explanations for things. It's like, yeah, maybe this kid did run in a straight line till they got to this point, and then they had to take a left, and maybe they ran into, like, oh, like, the store's right here. So they had to go another way around or something. You know what I mean? Like, there's explanations, and I think they're thinking a little bit too much into that. It's like, then there's no story. You want there to be no story? Like, I hate these people who are like, well, it's easy if you just did this. It's like, yeah, everything would be easy if it was just like that. Any unsolved mystery would be easy if it was if you just, like, had the answer given to you, and then you could look back and be like, why didn't they just do that? Why didn't they just look at this? Why didn't they just look at that? Right? Like, we were given we were told the answer. It's that it led to Alex's house. And now you're trying to retroactively be like, the police should have solved that. Why didn't the police solve that? It's like, obviously the police couldn't solve that. That's why there's a mystery. That's why they're having to look for these kids. It's stupid, and you're not thinking. You're just wanting to look for. It's this. This is what YouTube has brought us to, with these people who just like to sit here and be like, oh, if I was that person, I would have done this, and I would have solved it right away. And it's like, no, you're an audience member. You're giving the information. You're watching the information. That's the whole point. Think of this like in real life, like a mystery has happened. These kids went missing at 217 in real life. So you're telling me that you would have guessed that these kids in real life went missing because a witch. A witch used blood magic. She burrowed her way into a family's life, took them over, and got her quote-unquote nephew to steal stuff from them, personal stuff, and then she used her blood magic to draw them all at the same time, and she's keeping them in her basement. You're telling me that that's what happened in real life? Yeah, that's what happened. No, see, God, you people, and I get it, like, I know you want to think like, oh, I solved it. They're giving you the information. That's what you're doing. You're watching a movie. That's what the movie's about. Anyways, sorry about this rant. It's just that I've seen too many people who just, they think that they know, like, how to analyze this stuff. They think that they can, like, just because they're like, I've called out a pothole, that means that you're being, oh, that means this movie sucked. You're being that. I give this movie no stars out of 5. Or I loved this movie, but it also sucked. So I'm giving it 3 stars. No, shut up. It's gotten to the point where I'm like getting upset and mad, like that, you know, like these people are just like, they're hating things for no reason. They're just citing bad writing because that's just like a catch-all. And it's like, okay, but tell me what the bad writing is. Oh, you know, the bad writing. And that's not a good enough, like criticism. Like, give me true criticism. Like, I don't know. And that's the thing, is like, I can't think of any criticism that I have. Maybe my only thing is maybe I would have wanted it to be a little bit longer. I like exploring mythology, so getting more information, but that's not necessary to me to enjoy the movie. But let's just kind of wrap this up now. I think I've been going on too long. Guys, I loved this movie. I think Weapons was amazing. I think Barbarian was great. I think Zach Cregger's on a roll, and he's just a new master of horror. And even if he gives us something crappy next, I think it would still be pretty good. It's like Ari Aster. Like, he hasn't given us anything bad, but him doing something a little bit different with Eddington, it's not a horror, but it still kind of feels like in that genre of horror. It's not like I think it would be less of horror than Beau is Afraid. Beau is Afraid is like a surreal horror, more like a Lynchian horror. Eddington's more of he's trying to give you a drama with some action, and then he's throwing in his little twists of things. And then like Robert Eggers, I think he's on the same level of these guys. I think he's giving us banger after banger, and I can't wait to see what else he's working on, what else he produces. Like, it's like the thing with Jordan Peele, when he's got his hand in it, it's pretty good. Candyman was really good. Him looks really good. And so I give this one a solid 5 stars. If you disagree with me, I want to know. I want to know why. Tell me what you thought of this film. You can tell me on my socials, which I'll list at the end. But go on there and tell me. I want to know. Like, what did you think of Weapons? Because I hear good things, I hear bad things, and I hear dumb things. And so give me true criticism, and I'll listen. If you're just gonna sit there and be like, I solved it within the first minute. No, you didn't. But a solid movie. If you're listening to this just to spoil it for yourself, I don't know why you would do that, but go check it out. Watch it again if you've already seen it. If you've already seen it and it's streaming now and you're listening to this after it's come out for streaming, watch it again. It's so good. Such an amazing film. What did you think of Weapons? Did Zach Cregger hit a home run with his sophomore outing? Was the twist with Aunt Gladys being a witch, did that work? I think it worked very well. We want to thank you all for listening, and if you like what you hear, please subscribe to get every new podcast downloaded. Do you have any personal or fictional paranormal, supernatural, or unexplainable stories? We'd love to listen to them and read them on the podcast. Please send your stories, recommendations, or anything else to horrorboxpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to show more support, you can follow our socials on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, or check out our YouTube channel, all at Horrorbox Podcast on all sites. Also, you can buy me a coffee at coffee.com/horrorboxpodcast. Really helps out. Until next time, make sure your kids are locked safely inside at night. This is Dom, signing off from the Horrorbox.
Hey, I want to talk to you.
I don't think we have anything to say to each other.
Yeah, I think you have a lot to say.
You and every other person in this city. Believe me, the message is loud and clear. I'm the problem. Got it.
You know what? I think that's the first honest thing I've heard you say. You are the problem.
What, you want to get in my face? You want to threaten me?
I'm not... Nobody's threatening you right now.
You're barking up the wrong tree,
Oh,
okay?
you know what? This whole victim persona that you're taking on, it might have to...